Hey, what's going on? So, I uploaded this video. American American reacts to Alf. Australian football? Look at that stupid face. Um, and a lot of people. Well, first of all, I didn't mean to say Alf, so that's legitimately just like stupidity there that I called it ALF. And I just started seeing all these comments like reacting to Alf. I was like, what do you mean, Alf? It's AFL. I got that. Okay. But people were like, you need to react to how to play, which is true. I do. I purposely react to just like the game first because it's more fun that way. Because that was a good, yeah, that was a good one because what a weird game. I had no idea what to expect, and that was truly amazing. So, but today I'm ready to learn actually like what the heck was going on there. So I found this video. What is AFL? And I don't know if I want to change this title. Like I kind of like it that it's ALF, and I don't know. It's getting some views. I mean, look at this one. This got 47 views. This got 3,000. So I think I'm gonna leave it. I just need to start like putting typos in all my titles. Apparently, that's how you work YouTube. Anyway, what is ALF? AFL. What is AFL? Australian Rules Football Explained, updated 2021. So, sounds good to me. Let's learn, or at least you can watch me learn. Become less ignorant. Hopefully this is like a good explainer.
A game in which players soar like eagles.
The ball soars like an eagle, I'll say that much. What the? I like how he said that's his clip for players soaring like eagles. This dude falls
Players
flat on his
soar
face.
like eagles. Where a player can
Maybe a baby eagle trying to fly for the first time.
run between 12 and 20 kilometres a game.
How much?
Where a player can run between 12 and 20 kilometres.
Sorry guys, I gotta do this. I mean, I know how long that is, like 1,000 meters. Yeah, that's pretty far. What is that, like 5 miles? 20 kilometers, 2 miles. What? All right. Yeah, that's a lot. 12 miles. Woo. It's like half a marathon.
As a game. A game that's fast-paced and brutal. A game that says the meek may inherit the earth, but they will never win games of football. This is AFL. For me, this is the greatest sport in the world. So let's look at the greatest competition of them all, the AFL. You would allude to it as the Australian version of the English Premier League, the NBA, the NFL. It's the most watched competition by far in Australia.
Oh, that's interesting. See, that's what I was wondering.
It's the fourth most attended sport in the world. The AFL itself...
Well, yeah, look at the size of that stadium. Like, oh my gosh.
Itself is contested
the field
by
is so
18
big,
sides.
The stadium has to be
steeped in
gigantic.
Wonderful history and fabulous rivalries. The game itself is played between 18 players on the field of play at any one time, with an interchange
18 players total, or 18 on each side? I guess total.
Bench of 4 players that can be switched over 90 times. They play with an interchange bench of 4 players that can be switched over 90 times. They play over 4 20-minute quarters with time added on. And all the players line up in a certain formation. So to go through it, you've got your full forward line that are comprised.
Okay, 18 total. Yep, gotcha.
Of 2 forward pockets and a full forward. These guys genuinely there to attack the goal and trap the ball in the goal area. You may hear the terms pressure forwards. You may hear the terms crumbs if you watch the game. These guys are your strikers of the league.
Okay.
To use a soccer analogy.
It's kind of throwing me off that the strikers are at the back right now in this layout that we've got going on. They're standing at the back, but okay.
Then you've got your half forwards. These guys are there to set up scoring shots, to attack the goal as well, and are also charged with forward pressure and locking the ball in that area. And they would be very similar, I would say, to an attacking winger in the soccer. Kind of, like your Cristiano Ronaldo when he was a United player, very adventurous, marauding forward type player. Then you have your centre line players. Now these guys are the ones who recover the ball from the back line, look to set up shots, get the ball forward. They predominantly run two ways. They're made up as well with the two guys on the outside there, your wingers. They're kind of very rehearsed in defensive and forward, kind of like a wing back would probably be the best way to describe them. They're not quite an attacking winger because they do a lot more defensive jobs in the modern day AFL. But probably the most important part of the game. Then you've got your half-back line. Now they're to recover the ball from the back line and to clear the ball to midfield and to the forward line. These guys genuinely are very quick, the smaller players on the flanks, the half-back flanks. And you have a term you hear a lot, key defenders and key forwards. These are usually the players that are in the centre of the half-back line and the centre of the full-back line, who again, their job is to be a defender, to really lock down, get the ball out of the defensive 50 and to spoil all marks. And you can see that here, this is the format, you can kind of evenly...
So, I mean, seems pretty standard, I understand, just kind of reversed right now, which is sort of interesting.
Spread. And then you've got these interesting ones here, they're called followers. Now, this is quite confusing for someone new to the game, but they're comprised of a ruckman and two on-ballers. So, a traditional name is the ruck rover and the rover.
What? Is this like chess? What did I just do? Oh, I turned this on.
So generally these guys you'll see at the stoppages. So when the game gets stopped...
Why is there a Pokeball in the middle of the court?
At centre bounds particularly, you'll see these guys around the centre, usually comprising of one really tall guy and two smaller players. And these guys are genuinely there to get the ball out of congestion. They're real tough. They go in and get the ball. These guys usually genuinely are the strong, hard men of the competition.
Those are the rugby players.
And really the exciting players to watch.
Okay.
They play on a ground that dwarfs a standard soccer field in really all the known fields that they play sport, particularly the American ones. Like we say, they cover up to 20 kilometres per game, the average midfielder does in the AFL. And the game premise is to move the ball from one end to the other, and there is three predominant ways to do that.
If you haven't watched my other video, you got to go watch that, because I'm going to be referencing that a lot. My one with the title called ALF. But yeah, I noticed how gigantic this field is immediately.
One is the handball, where the player uses their fist to project the ball to teammates. It's a very unusual style. You may see something similar in Gaelic football if you are akin to...
Gaelic football, I reacted to that as well. That might have got copyright claim, but okay.
Watching that, but it is very predominantly to the AFL. The other more obvious method is the kick, and that's where they can gain up to 50 metres at a time, aiming to try and hit a player up to get a mark, or they do kick to space and allow players to run on. And the final way to move, and it's something that you see a lot more in modern day AFL, very similar to the basketball, they have to run with the ball at hand, but must bounce it once every 15 metres.
15 meters, huh? Okay, I wonder if that counts laterally or just going forward and back. And that's kind of an interesting, usually it's in steps, you know what I mean? It's kind of difficult to say, oh, you went 15, you went 16 meters, you went 15 and a half meters. No, I went 14. Like, interesting. Maybe it's a little bit relaxed on that, like, front. I wonder if that gets called often. Probably not, if I had to guess.
There isn't a limit to how much they could do that. You could run one end to the ground to the other if you do that. Very rare, though, because the game doesn't allow much space. And when we're kicking, we're looking for these marks. Now, it's one of the most spectacular aspects of the AFL. And it's something that you don't see really in any other sport as exciting as this. And it's a game that allows you to use the opposition as a stepladder. The ball must travel 15 metres without anyone touching it. I
saw someone saying that in the comments, because I pointed that out too. Like, he's jumping on his freaking back. That is cool.
Prior to the player marking the ball. And travel 15 metres without anyone touching it prior to the player...
Okay, wait.
The ball must travel 15 metres without anyone touching it prior to the player marking the ball, and it can't hit the ground. And if you do that successfully, we call it a paid mark. And that's where a player gets effectively a free kick from wherever he is on the ground with a 10-metre protection area to play his next kick. Perhaps the most common mark you'll see, and the biggest aim, is to mark inside 50. Now, you'll notice on the field as it comes up now, there's these little red lines indicating where the 50 are, these semicircular arcs. If a player successfully takes a mark inside 50, they get 30 seconds to attempt to score a goal. And the object of the goal is to kick through the two middle posts. If you do that, you'll get 6 points. If you hit the post, or you get it through the other posts, or a player takes it of the opposition and runs it through the behind, runs it through the goal. There's no own goals in this game. It's a single point, resulting in the opposition getting the ball, and there will be a
Okay, I did call that as well. I said, what? Yeah, like going through the center, is it worth more points? Yes, it is. A lot more points.
restart from that goal square there in the defensive 50. The game start is a really, I think, iconic part of AFL.
It is.
That really attracted me. And it's called the centre
I
bounce.
immediately was like, what the heck am I
quarter
watching, dude?
and after every goal. And it's called the centre bounce. And this happens at the start of each quarter and after every goal. And it is very similar to an NBA tip-off.
Yeah.
It's contested between two ruckmen who will then attempt to jostle position with each other while jumping for a ball in the air.
So the ref is the one throwing it down?
An attempt to tap it down to their rovers or a tapper to punch it ball forward and get it away from the congestion. And perhaps the most entertaining part for any foreigner is how we have our restarts in the game. You'll notice that when the ball goes out the sidelines, we have a throw-in, and you'll see how the umpires throw it in. They get
Okay, so those are the umpires. Okay, gotcha. There's a lot of them. They almost look like they're playing.
a lot of distance of that, and they create a. You'll see how the umpires throw it in. They get a lot of distance of that, and they create a mini version of the bounce between the two ruckmen. And it's really, for all intents and purposes, an umpire-led throw-in. It's a real weird part of the game, and it's something that amused me when I first started watching this great sport. Now, tackling is one of the best parts. It's a very physical style of game. And if you're familiar, like I am in the north of England, rugby league, tackling is one of the iconic parts of it. It's what we all enjoy doing as kids. Tackling is permitted, but it's got to be between the shoulders and above the knees. And you'll hear the crowd, if you watch the game, scream ball. And what they're trying to do is request the holding the ball rule, which means every time a player is tackled, they are given enough time to dispose of that ball. They must release the ball either via legal handball or a kick. And if they don't have the opportunity, it's called paying holding the ball, or you'll hear no prior, which means you're tackled before you had the opportunity to release it. We also have wonderful moments like bumps and shepherds off the ball.
There's a lot of rules here. This is a very intricate game.
Shepherd is where a player effectively bumps or uses his shoulders to shoulder to protect another ball carrier from a tackle. And obviously the bumps you'll see quite often in a thing we have called taggers. Now, taggers will remind you of players like Patrick Vieira and Roy Keane. Enforcers, they stop the good players playing and they look to stifle the opposition with bumps off the ball and intimidation tactics.
Oh, that's funny.
Now, our wonderful AFL
Intimidation.
season over here is played over 22 fabulous games, with the top 8 making up the finals. And if we look at it, the top 8 can be one of the most confusing things in the world. But as you can see here with this graph, the top 4 go into what is called a qualifying final, where first and second place will be at home and fourth and third will be away in that contest. And the losers of them games will go into what's called a semi-final, and they will be playing 5, 6, 7 and 8. 5 and 6 playing an elimination final. It's a knockout style type event, and the winner of that gets to play the loser of these qualifying finals, and then the winner of that goes on to whoever won the qualifying first and the qualifying second. Sounds quite confusing, but if you follow that graph, it should get you through. And then we're at the biggest dance of them all, 100,000 people in September at the MCG.
100,000?
On a national day's holiday if you live here in Melbourne. We all got the day off to watch it. You grab yourself a barbecue, grab yourself a nice cool beer, and you sit down and you cheer on your team or whoever you've adopted that day and cheer them on to glory. But it's not just team glory that we have in the AFL. Whoever finishes top of the ladder wins what's called the minor premiership, and it's not really that important.
That was
no one really
striped
talks
down
about
the
it. It's
center.
kind of just you've got the first qualifying final. We also have the Brownlow medal though, and that is a bit like our FIFA Player of the Year. And it's a very interesting way it's done. It's voted by the umpires on the ground that day. They give a 3-2-1 vote for the top 3 players on the ground. And it's called the best and fairest. And if you get suspended throughout the year, you forfeit your right to win the vote. It's a very tough competition to win, and only the cream rise to the top there. We have a Coleman medal for the leading goal kicker, and the leading goal kicker over here can range anywhere from 60 to 100 goals a year. And we have a Rising Star Award that's given to the best player aged 20 or under on January the 1st that year and must have played 10 or less games at the start of that calendar year. But for me, the greatest thing about this game of footy isn't the game itself. It isn't the marks. It isn't the spectacular, wonderful goals and virtuoso goals. But it's about the fans. It's about the cheer squad who use their spare time to make wonderful
Fight tooth and nail to each.
banners for the players to
I don't know what that's
run through at the start of the game. The noise they make, the chants they make. It's the rivalries that make up this game, and it's a friendly
like
rivalry.
any sport.
Unlike
You know what I
the
mean?
vicious rivalries we have in soccer.
I mean, like this in any good sport, the tip of the iceberg is just like the game itself, and then it's everything else, from all the interviews, the media, the fans,
In the UK,
everybody getting around loving the sport, talking about
it's
it.
It's not death at all costs. It's retaining the equal passion for both sides and the love of the game. And it's about how spiritual this game is, how we remember our indigenous forefathers for allowing us to play this great game on the great grounds that the land is represented on.
Was this a haka?
It's the community rounds we have, the indigenous round, the wonderful Guernseys, the wonderful dances we have at the start of the game. It's about bringing a whole nation together. The whole nation
Why is there just one kid out there?
stops March to September to watch this great thing for me. But perhaps I'll save the best for the last. The iconic team song. The most iconic things in soccer are watching at Anfield singing You Never Walk Alone. It's a wonderful sight. But there's nothing so charismatic, I think, but seeing 22 blokes after they've won gather in the changing rooms to sing their famous song. And it is a wonderful thing to see. It's a wonderful spectacle and a wonderful sight.
Okay.
This is the wonderful game of AFL footy, the greatest game in the world. Welcome to a sport game
what did that dude just
of
do to that
AFL
guy?
footy, the greatest game in the world. Welcome to a sport that combines not only the footy,
And then did
the
he get
greatest
that?
game in the world.
Looks like
Welcome
someone-
to a sport that combines...
I just like how he snuck in. He's talking about how beautiful the
AFL
game is,
footy.
and I mean it looks awesome.
the greatest
But
game
There's
in the
this
world.
clip of these
Welcome to a
dudes. He
sport
punches him
that
in the head. A dove flies by. Then his buddy comes up.
combines not only the ferociousness of rugby league, the silky skills of soccer, the theatre of wrestling.
That is so cool.
The pantomime of NFL, all done without pads and a script. This is AFL, and this is sport.
Dude, there's going to be a lot to react to in this game. What's it called when people do that? When they jump on the shoulders, there's got to be compilations of the
It's
best
purest.
catches. Now, the one thing that seems absolutely integral to the game, thank you for the video, Blue Abroad. That was very informative. But I just want to make sure before I end this video that I understand what a mark is. That confused me a little bit. You get 30 seconds after. Is a skill in Australian rules football where a player cleanly catches or is deemed to have controlled the ball for sufficient time. A kicked ball that has traveled more than 15 meters without any other player touching it prior to the player marking the ball. Now, what does it mean, marking the ball? Is marking the ball catching it? Although catching the ball is also found in other codes of football along with kicking the ball, it is also one of the most prevalent skills in Australian football. Marking can also be one of the most spectacular and distinctive aspects of the game. Ooh, mark of the year? Ooh, I want to see that. Even though I still don't quite understand. I'm trying to fully understand what this means. Upon taking a mark, the umpire will blow the whistle to signify the mark, and a player is entitled to an unimpeded kick of the ball to advance their team to. Okay, so taking a mark is catching a ball. A player, your teammate kicks the ball more than 15 meters. No one touches it. You catch it, and you control it, and you get what, 30 seconds? Is that what it was? I don't know. You get some amount of time, 30 seconds, I think, before, and then you get a free kick during that 30 seconds. I think. Am I right? Okay, so sometimes the crowd will chant like, "Hey, that was a mark. You can't tackle him." I might be completely wrong, but I think I got it. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. That's really cool. Yeah, it says he's marking the ball and he's catching it. Okay. All right. People are probably like, I probably sound so stupid. Like, but it's hard to see something and hear all these different rules for the first time ever and completely comprehend exactly what the heck is going on. But I think I got it. I'm definitely going to react to some more of this because it does look like an awesome game filled with pretty much anything you would want out of a sport: speed, agility, power, passionate fans. Yeah, good stuff. I'm just looking over here to see. Oh, looking at all these different videos. Yeah. Why you need to watch Australia. Okay. I'm getting distracted. Thank you for watching. And subscribe if you want to see my journey, watching some more ALF or AFL. That was a joke. Okay. Goodbye.